This video is about Achilles duels Hector in Troy until arrow strikes. If this myth excites you, please like the video, share it with friends, and write in the comments how it pulled you into the adventure. In the twilight of an age long forgotten, the sun dipped low behind the craggy Olympus peaks, setting a fire to the sky. It cast a golden hue upon the stony walls of Troy, where the air hummed with anticipation and dread. Two mighty warriors, Achilles and Hector, stood poised on the battlefield, their fates entwined by the threads of destiny spun by the fates themselves. Achilles, the invincible son of Peleus and Thetis, bore the weight of rage and honor upon his mighty shoulders. His armor shimmered like the sunlit sea, and his eyes blazed with a tempest of vengeance. Hector, prince of Troy and defender of his city, was valiant and steadfast, a lion among men, with the fierce love of his family burning in his heart. They embodied the opposing forces, each a reflection of the other's fate. The winds whispered their names, and the gods looked down, their hearts pounding with excitement. Athena, goddess of wisdom and war, favored Achilles, while Apollo, the radiant god of the sun, lent his grace to Hector. These divine patrons had ignited an eternal rivalry, and as tensions escalated, the battleground became a canvas for their wrath. As the two champions faced one another, the ground beneath their feet trembled. The air crackled with the weight of their shared destiny, and the sounds of battle faded into the background, as if the world held its breath in reverence. Hector raised a spear, its shaft gleaming in the dying light, and shouted, "Achilles, you who take joy in slaughter, we shall settle this once and for all." Achilles stepped forward, his voice low and heavy. "You speak of slaughter, but know that I fight for the glory of my name and the honor of my fallen comrades. I will not rest until your blood stains this earth." At that moment, the two warriors charged at each other, their feet pounding against the soil, a rhythm echoing through the heavens. They clashed like titans, their weapons singing a deadly tune. Every swing of Achilles' sword was a promise of vengeance, while each of Hector's thrusts was an embodiment of his love for Troy and his family. The ground became a stage for their epic duel, each movement a story of valor and sacrifice. Sparks flew as bronze met bronze, and the air filled with the scent of sweat, blood, and the raw energy of battle. They danced to deadly waltz, circling one another, reading each other's intentions like pages of an ancient tome. As they engaged, the specters of their past haunted them. Achilles recalled the loss of his dear friend Patroclus, slain in battle by Hector's own hand. The rage surged within him, igniting an inferno of emotions, while visions of Patroclus' lifeless body filled his mind. "You will pay for your treachery, Hector," he roared, a feral growl escaping his lips. Hector, fierce and unyielding, felt the weight of his own choices. He remembered the heart-wrenching farewell he had given to his wife Andromache, urging her to seek safety beyond the walls of Troy. "I fight for my family, for my people. You are not my enemy, Achilles, but fate has drawn our blades." Their words were drowned in the thunder of their resolve as they clashed anew, the sound echoing like the clash of thunder across the stormy skies. The earth beneath them became a tapestry of sweat and blood, marked by the legacy of warriors who had come before them. With each passing moment, the duel intensified. Achilles danced with grace, darting to the left, and with a sweeping arc of his sword, he aimed for Hector's heart, but the Trojan prince deflected with a flick of his wrist. The force sent shockwaves through Hector's arm, but he retaliated with a fierce thrust, narrowly missing Achilles' ribs. Both warriors were locked in a deadly embrace of strength and skill, and the gods above were enraptured. Athena, radiant in her armor, urged Achilles forward, whispering words of strength and courage. Meanwhile, Apollo, with his golden rays illuminating the battlefield, bestowed Hector with a fleeting moment of divine insight guiding his movements. As the sun began to dip beneath the horizon, painting the sky in hues of crimson and gold, Achilles found a momentary opening. With a surge of adrenaline, he lunged forward, his blade aimed at Hector's throat. Time seemed to slow as Hector's eyes widened, and he instinctively raised his shield. The impact was deafening. Achilles' sword clanged against Hector's shield, sending ripples of power through the air. Hector staggered back, his breath ragged, yet he refused to yield. "This is not the end," he shouted defiantly, determination etched into every line of his face. And then, like a bolt from the blue, fate intervened. From the heights of Olympus, Apollo watched the clash unfold, anger simmering within him. His beloved Hector teetered on the edge of defeat, and with a flick of his wrist, he directed the flight of an arrow, a glimmering shaft, divine in its purpose. Just as Hector regained his footing, he was caught unaware. The arrow, swift as thought, flew through the air, a whisper of doom directed by the god. It struck Achilles in the heel, the only vulnerable part of him, the fabled weakness that would lead to his downfall. A primal scream erupted from Achilles as he staggered back, clutching the wound that had been opened by the divine weapon. The pain seared through him, a burning reminder of his mortality. It was a tragic twist of fate that would echo through eternity. Hector, seeing his opponent falter, felt a surge of both triumph and sorrow. "Achilles, you are not merely a monster of wrath, but a man of honor, bound by destiny," he cried, his heart heavy with the weight of victory. As the sun finally sank below the horizon, darkness enveloped the battlefield, a shroud of uncertainty and grief. The clash of titans had come to a moment of suspension, where destiny hung in the balance. The gods bore witness, their eyes filled with intrigue, awaiting the final act of this tragic play. But Achilles, even wounded, was not one to succumb easily. Rage burned in his heart as he summoned his last ounce of strength. "I am not done," he roared, the primal fury of a lion echoing through his very being. With a final, furious push, he charged at Hector, the rage of 1,000 storms igniting his spirit. The world held its breath, waiting for the inevitable conclusion of this epic struggle between the mightiest of heroes. In that moment, the legends of old merged with the present as the fate of Troy teetered on the edge of a blade, and the whispers of the gods grew louder still. Thus, under the watchful eyes of the deities, the battle raged on, with the promise of both glory and tragedy looming ever closer, intertwined like the very threads of fate that had woven their lives together. The dance of destiny continued, a testament to the honor, courage, and relentless spirit of mankind, for the tale of Achilles and Hector was far from over. The air was thick with tension as Achilles, wounded but unyielding, surged forth like a tempest unleashed. The crimson sky morphed into a shroud of twilight as shadows danced around the battlefield, each flicker a reminder of the impending tragedy. Hector braced himself, his heart pounding with the gravity of the moment. "Achilles, this madness will end. You must see the folly of this vengeance." His voice rang out, earnest and fierce, yet underscored by the weight of his own fate. But the fury within Achilles could not be quelled. "Folly?" he bellowed, each word a thunderclap of defiance. "You stole my friend S' life, you think I will relent. This is not mere vengeance, it is my destiny to bring your darkness to light." He charged, a blur of muscle and rage, his sword gleaming with the light of 1,000 suns. Athena, her heart racing, sensed the shift as she urged Achilles onward. "Strike true, my champion. The fate of the world rests upon your shoulders. Do not let this moment slip away." The winds carried her words like whispers of thunder, igniting a fire within Achilles' soul. With each step, regret twisted Hector's heart. His thoughts flitted to Andromache and their son, Astyanax. What would they do if he fell? "Achilles, you fight with the spirit of the gods. But know this, victory is hollow without honor. Will your name endure if you kill me in this manner?" Hector's voice trembled with emotion, the weight of impending loss pressing heavily upon him. "Allah." Achilles laughed darkly, the sound reverberating in the silence. "You speak of honor while your city crumbles. I seek a legacy forged in blood, your blood." With a primal scream, he lunged, unleashing a flurry of strikes, each one aimed to end Hector's life. But Hector, fueled by love and desperation, met each strike with the tenacity of a lion defending its pride. Even in battle, "Achilles, I see your humanity. You are not just a killer, you are a shield for your fallen comrades," he called out, parrying a blow that would have cleaved him in two. The gods above watched, their hearts caught in the tumult of the moment. Apollo clenched his fists, his divine essence swelling in a tempest of fury and despair. "Hector, you must survive. The fate of Troy hangs by a thread." He focused his energies, sending a glimmer of strength into Hector's mind, guiding his movements with divine precision. The two warriors danced upon the field of war, a deadly ballet showcasing their raw power and skill. Achilles, every muscle honed by rage, struck with the ferocity of a storm, while Hector, deft and graceful, wove through the chaos, driven by love for his family and loyalty to his people. But as the clash continued, Achilles began to tire, the wound in his heel a fierce reminder of his mortality. The blood flowed freely, staining the earth beneath him crimson. Each breath echoed like a war drum, a countdown to the inevitable. Yet resolve burned like a flame within him. He would not falter. With a sudden shift in momentum, Hector seized an opportunity, thrusting his spear with newfound vigor. "This battle is not just for us, but for our families, our cities. You are blinded by rage. Achilles, open your eyes." But Achilles, with the winds of wrath at his back, could not be swayed. "You speak of families while I'm on, my friend. You will pay for all you've done." With a ferocious roar, he charged anew, swinging his sword in a deadly arc aimed directly at Hector's heart. Suddenly, with a flick of fate, Hector countered, deflecting the blow with a skillful twist of his wrist. The force sent shockwaves through Achilles' arm, and in that moment a flicker of doubt ignited in Hector's heart. Could he truly end this? Could he strike down a warrior who fought not just for vengeance, but for honor? With every clash of steel, every grunt of exertion, the gods' whispers grew louder, their emotions entangled in the fabric of destiny. Athena shouted to Achilles, "You are the vengeful storm, Achilles, do not falter, strike now." But amidst the din of battle, Hector found his voice again, desperation fueling his resolve. "Can you not see, Achilles, we are both but pawns in a game larger than ourselves, we must break the cycle of vengeance." The words struck a chord, reverberating in the air around them. In the midst of their duel, the battlefield became a realm of chaos, the cries of soldiers echoed in the background, and the flames of war flickered like specters. Monsters roamed, drawn by the scent of bloodshed, the relentless minotaurs and hobbies, eager to feast upon the fallen. Yet here, in this moment, it was only the two warriors that mattered. Each was a reflection of the other as struggle, the embodiment of fate's cruel hand. As the duel raged on, Hector felt a sudden rush of clarity. "Achilles, this feud will not bring back your friend. In death, he will find peace. You must honor him by living." The words struck Achilles like lightning, momentarily halting his blade. "Honor?" he scoffed, the rage still boiling beneath the surface. Yet doubt crept into his heart, gnawing at the edges of his resolve. Suddenly, a mighty roar erupted from the heavens, a bolt of divine wrath rained down, striking the ground between them like a tempest. The gods had grown impatient, their destiny-woven tapestry threatened by the chaos. The earth trembled, and a monstrous shadow crept across the battlefield. Emerging from the shadows was the terrible Chimera, a beast of nightmares, a lion with the head of a goat and a serpent for a tail. Its roar shattered the silence, and it prowled toward the warriors, craving destruction. "Achilles, Hector!" Athena cried out, her voice laced with urgency. "Forget your battle. Together, you must face this beast." With the creature advancing, the tension snapped like a taut string. Achilles and Hector, momentarily united by the threat of annihilation, exchanged a glance, both warriors understanding the gravity of the moment. "This is our chance!" Hector shouted. "We must fight as one, or we will fall." The beast lunged, its jaws gaping wide, and without hesitation, Achilles swiped his sword at its flank while Hector held his spear at its heart. The duo moved in an intricate dance, dodging and striking, their earlier enmity set aside in the face of the monstrous threat. As they fought, the very essence of their spirits intertwined, an unspoken bond forming amidst the chaos. Achilles, fueled by anger and vengeance, struck with a flurry of blows, while Hector fought with a fierce love for his people guiding his every movement. With a final, furious thrust, Hector pierced the beast's heart, while Achilles delivered a lethal blow to its throat. The Chimera fell, its monstrous form crumpling to the ground, a final, echoing roar of defeat dissolving into the night. For a moment, silence enveloped the battlefield as the dust settled. The two warriors stood panting, drenched in sweat and blood, their eyes locked. "We survived," Hector breathed, all mingling with exhaustion. "Together." But even as fleeting camaraderie bloomed, the reality of their rivalry resurfaced. Fate's cruel hand always loomed. "He fought well, Hector," Achilles admitted, a begrudging respect forming in his voice. Yet that respect was overshadowed by the weight of their separate destinies. "But I will not forget why we are here," Achilles declared. "Your blood still calls to me." In that moment, the battle resumed, the final act of fate inevitable and irreversible, as the clash of swords echoed through the chaos once more. Each warrior fought not just for victory, but to weave their names into the fabric of legend, knowing that the outcome would echo through time, celebrated or mourned, forever to be remembered. And as the gods washed hearts entangled in the tapestry of fate, the battlefield transformed into a stage for their epic struggle, one fraught with honor, tragedy, and the relentless pursuit of destiny that would shape the world for ages to come. As the dust of battle settled, the moon cast its silver light upon the scarred soil of Troy, illuminating the figures of Achilles and Hector standing amidst the aftermath of chaos. The slain Chimera lay defeated, a testament to their momentary alliance against the monstrous threat that had stalked the battlefield. But the fleeting bond they had forged was a mere flicker in the shadow of their looming confrontation. Achilles, despite the temporary victory, felt the gnawing ache of vengeance pulse through his veins like a raging fire. The wound in his heel throbbed, a constant reminder of his mortality, yet it was the anguish over Patroclus' death that consumed him deeper. "You have bought yourself some time, Hector," he growled, each syllable laced with the bitterness of wrath. But the debt remained unpaid. Hector, eyes fierce and resolute, stood firm against the encroaching tide of Achilles' fury. "Vengeance will not heal your heart," he shouted, defiance surging through him. "Patroclus is gone, but to kill me will not bring him back. Is this the legacy you wish to leave another body among the countless slain?" The sound of clashing swords echoed in the night, the remnants of their previous battle mingling with the cries of war that filled the air around them. Men rallied on both sides, fueled by the fire ignited by the champions' clash. From the walls of Troy, the Trojans peered, hope and dread intertwining in their hearts as the fate of their hero hung in the balance. As they gathered their breath for the next round, the gods above shifted with their knees. Athena, her heart tugged in two directions, whispered to Achilles, "Remember your friend, but do not lose sight of your honor, for there is more at stake than mere vengeance." Her words rang true, yet the black tide of rage within Achilles was relentless. "Honor?" he spat, the bitterness coating his tongue. "Where was honor when Hector took my closest friend? Where was it when you, the gods, turn your backs on our suffering? It is the blood of our enemies that will pave the way to glory." Hector, undeterred by the tempest of Achilles' wrath, stepped forward, sword held high. "Then let us put an end to this cycle, Achilles, let us settle our fates, but let it be as warriors, not as beasts driven by hatred. If you seek glory, then let it be through valor." The impassioned words hung in the air, and for an instant the clash of steel dulled. Achilles' resolve wavered, the truth in Hector's voice echoed deep within him. Yet the shadows of rage were quick to reclaim their hold, and he pressed forward, his sword glinting ominously in the moonlight. "Your valor means nothing to me." Achilles roared and charged. The ground shook beneath them as he surged forward, a tempest of fury given form. But Hector, a resolute guardian of his city, met him head-on, the clash of their swords reverberating like the tolling of a death knell. With each strike, Hector felt the weight of his family pressing upon him, the memory of Andromache and their son, Astyanax, urging him to fight with unwavering strength. For Troy, he shouted, pushing back against Achilles' relentless assault. "For my people." Achilles, too, drew strength from the memory of Patroclus. "For honor," he bellowed, slicing down with all his might. As the two warriors danced their deadly waltz, the battlefield around them melted into a blur, their personal vendetta eclipsing the chaos of war. But the gods above watched with bated breath, their emotions swirling in a tempest of unease. Apollo, watching his beloved Hector struggle against the currents of fate, yearned to intervene. "Fate must play its hand," he muttered, his voice a soft caress against the winds. "But I shall not abandon him. He shall have the strength he needs." With a flick of his wrist, Apollo sent a surge of energy coursing through Hector. The prince felt a divine strength envelop him, igniting a newfound vigor in his heart. "Achilles," he cried out, his voice rising above the clamor. "Even now, we can forge a legacy. Together, we could unite our people against the true enemy, this war itself." But Achilles, lost in the storm of his grief, refused to yield. "You speak of unity while your sword dances with vengeance. I will not rest until you pay for what you have taken from me." With a primal roar, he unleashed a series of rapid strikes, each one a desperate attempt to pierce Hector's heart. Hector, fueled by divine energy and his love for his family, parried and dodged, weaving a tapestry of resilience amid the storm. "Then let our blades sing, Achilles, but know this: every blow we deal is further writing our tragedy. Our legacies are bound together by the blood we spill." Time slowed for both warriors as they exchanged powerful blows, the weight of their intertwined fates heavy upon them. Achilles, the embodiment of wrath, and Hector, the steadfast protector, were trapped in a deadly dance where neither could escape the cruel grip of destiny. Suddenly, the battlefield erupted in chaos as a horn blared, signaling the arrival of fresh troops on both sides. The Greek forces surged forward, emboldened by the sight of Achilles battling, while the Trojans rallied, their hearts aflame for their prince. "Fight, my brothers!" Hector shouted, rallying his comrades. "Fight for your families, for your homes. We shall not falter. Trojans, to me." Achilles felt the weight of the oncoming tide. The war was a raging inferno, and they were but embers in its destructive path. "We are not mere soldiers," he cried out, defiance lacing his voice. "We are legends forged in flames. Let none forget our names." As the two champions clashed again, their weapons danced in a deadly rhythm against the backdrop of the gathering armies. The earth beneath them trembled, echoing the heartbeats of gods and men alike, all entwined in the web of fate. With each passing moment, Hector felt his strength waning. The wound on Achilles' heel burned, the bloody ground beneath becoming a reminder of their fragile existence. "Achilles," he shouted, desperation creeping into his tone. "We are both more than this. Our destinies can change. Can we not choose a new path?" Yet the storm within Achilles surged, the rage that had been forged in loss roaring back to life. "You still fail to understand, Hector," he bellowed, lunging forward with ferocious intent. "Honor is a lie. It will not save you when I strike." The force of their blades echoed through the night, each clash a moment of thunder that rattled the very heavens. Each warrior drew strength from their fears, their hopes bloodied but unbroken. Yet as the battle raged on, the spectre of death loomed ever closer, a shadow that would not be easily dismissed. Then let us carve our names into the annals of history. Hector shouted, determination etched onto his brow. With a powerful thrust, he aimed for Achilles' heart, narrowly missing as Achilles sidestepped, rage igniting anew. But in a moment of desperation, Hector called out, Achilles, your resolve blinds you. Can you not see that this cycle will only bring more death? Our families, our cities, will they be worth the bloodshed? For a heart-stopping moment, Achilles hesitated. The flames of vengeance flickered, revealing the glimmer of doubt. You think me blind? Achilles shouted, his voice strained. I seek justice, Hector. There is no honor in letting you live after what you've done. Then, as if summoned by their shared desperation, the heavens roared in response. Dark clouds swirled overhead, and a bolt of divine light pierced the sky, illuminating the battlefield in an ethereal glow. The gods themselves seemed to weigh the balance of fate in that instant, their eyes wide with anticipation. Strike, Achilles! Athena cried, her voice a clarion call. But remember, the choice of your actions will echo through time. Choose wisely. As the thunder rumbled, Hector met Achilles' gaze, seeing not just an enemy, but a man wrought with grief, pain, and fury. Together, we can change it all, he implored, desperation tinging each word. But in a fateful twist, as Achilles lunged forward, the ethereal light shifted, and a voice of divine wrath echoed from the heavens. Enough! It was just himself, having witnessed the tragedy unfold. The fate shall not be so easily swayed. The balance must be restored. With that proclamation, the air thickened, and the earth trembled beneath them. Time seemed to freeze as Achilles and Hector stood, locked in a moment suspended between vengeance and understanding. Two warriors honoring their destinies, yet suffocated by the spiraling chaos of war that had consumed their lives. And in that fleeting instant, Achilles felt the weight of his choices crash down upon him. Rage and sorrow mingled, forging a new understanding of honor and awakening to the tragic beauty of life. Hector, he whispered, his voice barely audible over the winds of fate, perhaps there is more than vengeance. The night draped itself over the battlefield like a shroud, the silver light of the moon illuminating the remnants of chaos where Achilles and Hector stood, poised at the precipice of fate. The echoes of the Chimera's demise faded into the backdrop of clashing armies, each warrior charged with the promise of glory and survival. Yet the deeper struggle unfolded between the two heroes, a struggle not just for victory, but for meaning in a world steeped in bloodshed. Achilles, the embodiment of wrath and vengeance, tightened his grip around the hilt of his sword. The wound in his heel throbbed, a painful reminder of his mortality and the divine twist of fate that had turned him from an invincible warrior into a man on the brink of ruin. You're a shadow, Hector, he roared, flames of rage still flickering in his heart. A shadow of the man you could have been, a man who could have chosen peace. Hector, undeterred, stood firm with his spear poised, the weight of his duty pressing against his chest. Peace is a luxury we cannot afford. Achilles, my people are at stake. You seek vengeance, but I fight for a future. His voice rang out, echoing like a battle cry. The ground trembled beneath them, as if the gods themselves were shifting in their seats, observing this monumental clash of ideologies encapsulated in two mortal souls. Athena's eyes glimmered with a fierce pride for Achilles, while Apollo clenched his fists, his heart heavy for Hector. Fate is cruel, but it can also be rewritten, Apollo whispered, hoping that the winds of destiny might carry his words to the Prince of Troy. With a sudden burst of ferocity, Achilles lunged. He struck with an intensity that sent a shockwave through the air, his sword aimed at Hector's chest, fueled by a desire for retribution. But Hector, quick as thought, sidestepped, the blade grazing his armor, sending sparks cascading into the night like dying stars. We are chained by fate's cruel hand, but I will not go easily, Hector shouted, his spirit unyielding. Then let us carve our fate together. Achilles thundered in response, his voice a tempest of fury and sorrow. In that moment, the air crackled with energy as the two heroes clashed once again, the sound of their swords meeting echoing across the battlefield. The armies paused, caught in the spectacle of their confrontation, as if witnessing the clash of titans. But as they fought, the gods above bore witness to the turmoil below. Zeus, ruler of Olympus, looked down, his brow furrowed with concern. These mortals are blinded by their own desires, he murmured. They fail to see that their bloodshed serves a purpose far greater than their own vendetta. With each blow, Achilles felt the weight of the world crashing down upon him. With every strike he delivered, visions of Patroclus danced before his eyes, his friend's laughter, their shared moments of camaraderie, the lust that had ignited this dark path. You will pay for what you have taken from me, he bellowed, unleashing another furious onslaught. "No, Achilles," Hector shouted back, parrying the blow with sheer determination. "You do not honor Patroclus by spilling more blood. The cycle must end here." His heart raced as he fought not just for his survival, but for the possibility of change, a chance to shift the tides of fate. The moon hung high, casting shadows that flickered like the thoughts racing through their minds. In the midst of their battle, the world around them transformed into a blur, the cries of warriors drowning beneath the weight of their conflict. Yet, as they continued to clash, a glimmer of understanding began to emerge from the darkness. Honor does not come from vengeance, Hector shouted, sweat dripping down his brow, his spirit unwavering. It comes from protecting those we love. For Andromache, for Astyanax, I fight for my family, Achilles. Family? Achilles echoed, the word piercing through the fog of his rage. The thought of Patroclus brought forth a wave of emotions, grief, longing, and now an echo of doubt. What legacy will your family have if we are both dead? This hatred is but a game played by the gods. Suddenly, the earth shook violently as if the heavens conspired to intervene. A rumbling roar shattered the tense atmosphere. A monstrous figure emerged from the depths of darkness, an ancient titan awakened by the fury of their battle. Its body, a mass of shadows and anger, loomed over the warriors. "Foolish mortals, your conflict has summoned me," the titan bellowed, its eyes glowing like embers in the night. Achilles and Hector, momentarily united by the common threat, exchanged a glance of unspoken understanding. "Together?" Hector suggested, his voice steady despite the chaos surrounding them. "We can fight this creature and life to settle our differences." With a reluctant nod, Achilles lowered his sword, recognizing the truth of their situation. "Very well," he said, the storm within him slowly abating. "But once this is over, our battle will resume." The titan, with its monstrous roar, lunged at them, its massive hands outstretched. In a swift motion, Achilles seized it, bringing his sword down with all his might upon the creature's shoulder, while Hector hurled his spear with precision, striking the titan's eye. The beast held in pain, staggering back, momentarily disoriented. "Strike now, Hector," Achilles urged, his heart pounding with adrenaline. "Together, we can bring it down." For a fleeting moment, the battlefield transformed into a realm of unity amid chaos, as the two warriors fought side by side. Achilles struck with the ferocity of a storm, while Hector's movements were guided by love and purpose. They became a whirlwind of strength and precision, each blow resonating like thunder in the night. Yet, with every strike, the titan retaliated with a fury of its own, swinging its massive arms like the very winds of destruction. The earth beneath them cracked and split, but Achilles and Hector pressed on, their blades dancing in the moonlight, weaving a tale of valor amidst despair. Hector, feeling the weight of his family in his heart, shouted, "This is not just for us, this is for all who suffer under war, for a future without fear." With a roar that shook the heavens, Achilles charged forward, his sword reflecting the silver light of the moon. "Then let it be for honor," he cried, summoning the last of his strength. He leaped, driving his blade deep into the titan's heart. The monster let out a final, ear-splitting howl before collapsing, a heap of shadows crumbling into dust. The battlefield fell silent, the echoes of their victory lingering in the air like a haunting melody. Achilles and Hector stood side by side, both panting heavily, their eyes reflecting the flickering flames of a newfound understanding. "We did it," Hector breathed, exhaustion mingling with a glimmer of hope. "Yes," Achilles replied, his voice softened now, tempered by the experience. "But what now?" Hector looked out over the battlefield, where the cries of the wounded mingled with the sounds of victory. "We must fight for peace, Achilles, for our families, for the lives that will come after us. This cycle must end." Achilles nodded, the truth in Hector's words resonating deep within him. "Perhaps vengeance is not the answer," he murmured, the weight of realization settling in. "But I will not forget what you've done." Just then, a flicker of light erupted from the heavens, and Athena descended, radiant and fierce. "You have fought bravely, both of you. The choice you make from here will echo through eternity. Will you continue this cycle of blood, or will you forge a new path?" Achilles, his heart heavy with remembrance of Patroclus, felt the weight of responsibility upon his shoulders. "We can change," he declared, a newfound conviction igniting within him. "We will fight for the future, for those who cannot defend themselves. We will be legends not for our wrath, but for our courage." Hector, in spite, stood at Achilles' side. "Together, we will unite our forces, Greeks and Trojans alike. We will build a future beyond this war." Athena smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "Then let the heavens bear witness. Your names shall echo through time, not as enemies, but as champions of change." As the gods looked down, a new dawn broke upon the horizon, casting golden rays over the battlefield. The war-weary souls of Troy and the Greeks stood ready, united under a shared purpose, no longer puppets of divine wrath, but champions bound by a common dream. And so, a legend of Achilles and Hector transformed from a tale of vengeance into one of honor, sacrifice, and reconciliation, a testament to the power of trust in the face of overwhelming odds, forever etched into the fabric of history. In the days that followed, the cries of war faded into whispers of hope as the warriors forged a new legacy, one that would endure for generations, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the light of unity could illuminate the path ahead.